All right, Brian, let's talk about the next milestone, the next cash flow milestone that's worth celebrating. That's a big deal. And this is another one that's near and dear to our hearts, maxing out your Roth IRA.
Oh, man, I love Roth IRAs because this is your path to becoming a tax-free millionaire.
Yep.
And it starts with small incremental decisions. If you think about the maximum that you can fund in 2024 is $7,000. Now, if you're 50 or over, somebody at this table resembles that, you can actually do $8,000. That works out to be right around $583 a month.
It's not crazy. It doesn't take a ton of capital to be able to do this. But if you can begin maxing out your Roth and you can establish that behavior, it sets your future self up for success. And why is Roth the account that we picked? Why is that the one that we wanted to hone in on? Because we think that Roth dollars are amazing. There's some huge benefits to Roth. The first being, when you open up a Roth account, you get to choose where you open it, what custodian. Well, when you choose a low-cost provider like a Fidelity, like a Charles Schwab, like a Vanguard, you naturally, if you're buying low-cost index funds, you're going to have low expenses, low fees. You get to keep more of your dollars working for you for the future.
I also like the tax-free growth. I've already hit on this. Think about on those previous slides when we were talking about that 86% of your account could be the growth, not what you contributed, but actually the growth of the account. If that's tax-free, that is that much sexier for the future. So take advantage of letting that exponential growth build up completely tax-free.
Another benefit of Roth is unlike your 401k, which might only have a few investment options available, you have a huge selection of investment options. Again, if you use a low-cost provider like a Fidelity, a Schwab, or a Vanguard, you can select from the entire universe of low-cost index funds and ETFs. So there's a huge opportunity for you to, again, have very efficient dollars working for you for the future.
And then lastly, the flexibility of the contributions. Think about the fact that, you have until April 15th of the following year to fully fund this. Also, Roth IRAs have a break glass in case of emergency provision where if you got into a really bad pickle, you could actually get access to the basis of your Roth IRA to be that emergency fund. We don't love that, but it's still nice that it has that flexibility of the contributions. Look, this is the last thing I'll say about the Roth part. The government restricts how much you can put in. The government restricts how much money you can make to even have access to this. There's a reason that they have put so many restrictions on this powerful tool. You're crazy if you're missing out on this limited opportunity that the government's laying out for you just so you can build your financial future.
Another reason why we think this is a great milestone and one worth celebrating, because if you're following the financial order of operations, Brian, can you hold the thing up? If you're following the financial order of operations, one of the huge benefits once you've maxed out your Roth IRAs is you get to continue moving along in the FOO. You get to go from step 5 now to step 6. So that's a milestone in and of itself worth celebrating. And the earlier you can do this, the sooner you can figure this out, the less likely you might have future regrets. Because sometimes people look back and think, man, what if?
I think one of the powers of the show is that I'm transparent with my mistakes. And look, I had my own messy middle moments in the 90s and early 2000s, and the fact that my wife and I had just bought a house. Then I'd lost my father, and I was then using that life moment to save up to start my first business in 2002. And all during that period, because remember, Roth IRAs came on the scene in 1998, and I'm very proud of the fact that I've loaded up that 1998 Roth, but I ran into I still funded these accounts, but if you added it up, there was $10,000 between 1999 to all the way through 2003 because of life that I left a little bit here and there on the table. Now, I am nerdy enough that I went and calculated what my Roth accounts are worth now, and I detailed all this in Millionaire Mission, and this is why it's my Roth IRA regret, and I figured out I was making 9.3% annually, if you annualized all my contributions and what I've actually earned on my Roth assets. And I said, okay, that $10,000 of here and there, $1,000 here or there, it seemed like it was just a small decision at the time. Right now, what would that account be worth? And when we figured it out at that 9.3%, that $10,000 small decision would now be worth close to $70,000.
Insane.
That stinks. And
that's tax-free
that's
dollars.
A regret. That's tax-free growth that I left on the table. But here's what will really make your kind of your hair on your arm stand up is if you then expand it. Because remember, we don't need to think linearly. We need to think exponentially, because the more time we can give our assets to work, the more they grow upon themselves. If you fast forward that $68,000, close to $69,000, by the time I reach 65 years of age, that same $10,000 would have had the opportunity to become $332,000 of tax-free money. I'm telling you, small decisions today can have huge impacts. Yes, I feel like this did not derail my financial life. You do not have to have perfection to be successful, but be honest with yourself. It is these small little decisions that you give up $1,000 here, $2,000 there, that can lead to an over $250,000 mistake that I've made in the past.
And the sooner you figure it out, the better. The best time to have done it was yesterday. The second best time to do it is today.